On News Prime, Tarkwa emerges after he was declared missing, insisting he was not kidnapped. Now tonight, he'll be telling us what happened to him. Majority in Parliament says it is engaged in efforts to settle Asin Central MP Kennedy Japon's matter at the Privileges Committee, so he wouldn't have to appear before the committee.
Our colleague has been engaged extensively, Honorable Kennedy Japan, on this matter. I have no doubt in my mind that steps will be taken to deal with the matter.
The minority is, however, against the move.
Standing orders is the Deputy Majority Leader giving us this announcement or serving this notice to the House.
Ejura Probe Ministerial Committee concludes hearings with a promise to be fair and open-minded with its report and recommendations.
Our duty is to find the facts, make recommendations. After our recommendations, what else? I continue with my life as usual.
In business, Chamber of Agribusiness charges Agribusiness to place strict surveillance on value chain of maize production in the country as prices of maize have increased by over 300% across the Tichaman Central Market in the last few months.
Chamber called for us to look at the price, food price index build-up, for us to actually put into proper context with a pandemic situation, what indicators contribute towards food prices.
And KNUST students protest what they describe as astronomical increase in hostel fees.
The son of the handkerchief seller
should have an accommodation.
The son of the dean of students
already has an accommodation.
My name is Israel, and Johnny's Prime is coming to you live from our Fan of Studios at Kokomimle here in Accra on your digital terrestrial TV, because we're free to air, and also on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. This is a home of independent, fearless, credible, and impactful journalism. Stay tuned in. After 12 days of public hearing, the three-member committee probing the Ejura clashes has wrapped up its public sitting. Set up by President Akufo-Addo, the committee took testimonies from 22 witnesses, including 3 who had their sessions in camera for security reasons. Chairman of the committee, Justice George Kingsley-Kumsing, told journalists the committee is satisfied with the cooperation of the public, especially residents of Ejura, and promised to be open-minded with its report and recommendations. Oiming Teo of our security desk has more in the following report.
The death of social activist Ibrahim Mohammed, also known as Kakamecho, on June 28, 2021, sparked clashes in Ejura. 2 people were killed, whilst 6 others received gunshot injuries. The Committee of Inquiry began its public engagement on July 5, 2021, after a visit to Ejura. The committee received public backlash on its first sitting, as members were seen to be overly focused on critique of media reportage of the incidents. But chairman of the committee, George Kingsley-Kumsing, says inquisition into evidence submitted by journalists before the committee was not to ridicule them.
If Kweku comes, he testifies, he's asked questions. If a media man comes, he testifies, he should be subjected to some form of questioning. That doesn't mean that you are being ridiculed.
In all, 22 witnesses, including 3 in camera, appeared before the committee. Justice George Kingsley-Kumsing says the committee is satisfied with public support, especially residents of Ejura.
On behalf of the committee and on my own behalf, we would like to thank the media who have been our partners in this exercise. We are very grateful to you.
The committee received 117 videos, 555 pictures, and 1 audio in evidence. It also received 2 spent shells.
These are the shells.
However, some witnesses have come under a barrage of attacks after appearing before the committee. Prominent among them is Love FM's Erastus Asaidonko, whose testimony has been described as stupid and irrelevant by Chairman of Parliament's Defense and Interior Committee, Kennedy Ejapong. But Justice Kumsin thinks otherwise.
Who decides what is stupid? We as a committee, we are a fact-finding committee. And we've not come out to say that anyone's evidence is stupid or is irrelevant. No, so whoever would describe a piece of evidence as stupid or irrelevant, it is the person's own opinion.
It's in relation to what Erastus gives to the committee.
Erastus gives evidence, a lot of evidence, video, and apart from that, I think he appeared before us, testified, yes, oral testimony. None of his evidence looks stupid.
The committee is expected to present its report, including recommendations to the Interior Minister. There are concerns of lack of willpower to implement recommendations of such committees. Is this a concern to members of the committee?
Our duty is to find the facts, make recommendations. After our recommendations, what else? I continue with my life as usual. I have no personal expectation. I have come to do my work. Once it is done and I submit my report, I'm done.
From Kumasi, for Joy News, Ohiminteria reporting.
Right, so Ohiminteria, who has been covering the committee sittings, joins us live now. So Ohiming, all the work is done in 12 days, and what we know is going to happen is that the committee is going to put its work together. You have been part of this from the get-go. So you tell us, how has it been over the last few days?
And then on Wednesday, 3 others also came. Thursday was a break, there was suspension for the committee to look at some of the video evidence submitted to the committee and then informed decision on that. And today, being the last day, according to the chairman, they were expecting the last witness to appear before the committee, but the witness didn't appear. So the chairman thought that once the witness did not appear, and they've gotten enough evidence from the witnesses who appeared, then it was okay for the committee to bring its activities to a halt. So in all, 22 witnesses appeared before the committee and testified. Out of the 22, 3 of the witnesses, their testimonies were received in camera. We are not too sure who these 3 people were. When we tried to get some information from the chairman of the committee, Justice Kingsley Kumsin, he didn't open up except to say that the evidence that the committee got was only meant for the committee and it will be part of the committee's report as they prepare the report and the recommendations to the Interior Minister. Beyond this, they also received 117 video evidences and then 555 pictures plus an audio evidence and 2 spent shells. The chairman said all these forms part of the evidences that the committee has picked and it will be included in this report. But there were questions as to what the chairman's and his members' expectations were. And this is something that Justice Kingsley Kumsin wouldn't want to open up except to say that they expect nothing. Once they have been commissioned to work on a report and they submit their report to the Minister of Interior, that is where their work ends. So I must say it's been a very busy, day for the committee as far as its work is concerned. They sat, and received testimonies for people in the last 12 days as far as the committee's work is concerned, Israel.
And Ohiming, you indicate that the committee was supposed to have heard from one final witness today, but that witness didn't appear. Do you happen to know who this witness is and whether the testimony could be material?
Israel, kindly come again.
I want to know if you happen to know who this witness who was supposed to have appeared before the committee today is.
Unfortunately, I have no idea. The chairman or the committee wouldn't want to give details about this witness. But earlier, just 3 days ago, we were told that they were still expecting witnesses from Ejura. And among the the witnesses who were supposed to appear and testify before the committee was the Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator, who about a week ago, the committee announced his schedule to appear before the committee. But that didn't happen as far as journalists were concerned. We didn't see him appear to give testimony to the committee. So we all assume that the 3 people who testified in camera, probably the regional security coordinator could be part of the 3 people who testified in camera. Last week on Friday, the committee told us that the person who came to testify in camera, the very first person, was actually from Ejura, a gentleman. That is the information we picked from the committee. So for the witness who was supposed to appear today, unfortunately, we don't have any detail about this particular witness. But what we do know is that the committee was expecting somebody to testify today, and when the person did not appear, and the committee said even when they wait for him, they are not likely to know when he will be likely to appear before the committee, then they suspended his testimony and said it's okay for the committee to present its report.
All right, thank you very much, Heming Teria, who has been covering the settings of the Interministerial Committee probing the Ejura killings. Moving on to other stories now, the Jasehine of Wasa Pinto traditional area who went AWOL this week is back in his community. We'll be coming to that in a bit, but right now we have security analyst Adam Bona, who has also been following the proceedings of the committee. Thank you very much, Mr. Bona, for joining us. So the committee has wrapped up its work. You have been following their work, and initially you were quite critical. Are you now convinced they did a thorough job?
I am not convinced yet until I see the report. I'm not convinced they did a thorough job because I am still skeptical about their posture and, their lack of focus and the fallout, that, unwarranted attack on media persons. And eventually we are all aware of petitions, online petitions and the rest, and threatening of media people. So I would have thought that for a very important committee such as this would have stayed focused. But I would want to give them that benefit of the doubt, hoping that we all, apart from, I'm hearing that 3 individuals gave an in-camera testimony. But the rest of it, I do believe that I am almost done with my own report, listening to them. And so as a citizen of this country and not a spectator, I would also, put my report together, hoping that at the end of the day, we would arrive at the same junction where probably if what they did is good, I'm sure Ghanaians would all know. If what they did, somehow short of what we're expecting is right, we would all know. But for now, I am still not very convinced because of some of these issues I've raised is right.
I'm curious as to some of the highlights you have in your report. Do you care to share with us?
Well, some of the is right. Just like the committee chairman did allude to some of, well, I wouldn't go as he said, but for instance, the inconsistencies, you did hear about what's the name, who fired the shots and, who might have killed these people. Did they have the protesters, were they armed with firearms? We are told there are 2 spent shells. There's 2 spent shells. We need to know whether these are BB cartridges or these are spent shells from, military grade firearms or police grade firearms. We need to know. And I want to know, they said they arrested some people. And so in my report, I do know that per what the Ashanti Regional Police Commander said on the day of the incident, he said they didn't arrest anybody. And coupled with the fact that it is difficult to trust the Ashanti region, the Ashanti Regional Police Command to be specific when it comes to some of these firearms. men died. Fire raided around them, and later a committee cleared all of them and said none of them had a firearm. And so mine is that my report would be out. I am hoping, I've given you some highlights, but I wouldn't want to share everything, Israel.
All right. Thank you very much, Adam Bona. Adam Bona is a security analyst, and he has been following the committee, the Inter-Ministerial Committee sessions. And, well, he says he is putting together his own report, except his report isn't going to the minister. He probably may share that with us later on. Now, moving on, the Jase Hene of Wasa Apinto traditional area who went AWOL this week is back in his community. Dr. Nana Adakwa Bediako III went missing on July 14 amid speculations he may have been kidnapped. Police and national security officers then launched a search for him. His family, however, revealed on Joy News Prime Thursday night that he had re-established contact and that he was fine. The chief has since been reunited with his subjects. Police in the Western region say he has told them he wasn't kidnapped.
The information we are gathering right now is that Nana Adakwa Bediako III has come to the police station, and when he was interviewed, he said he was never kidnapped. And honestly, he doesn't know who sent out the message that he has been kidnapped. But what happened was that yesterday, on the 3rd, 15th, he went to bank to cash some money because he needed to buy some instruments for, I think, the Pentecost church within Tarkwa area. So from the bank, there's an instrument shop just around that area. So he decided to take a walk there and make some enquiries. So whilst he was going, there was this gentleman that he doesn't know. The gentleman just bumped into him and told him that, Nana, some people are planning to kill you. So immediately he took the next available taxi. He got there. And it's just unfortunate that he couldn't communicate with people because he had left his phones in his vehicle. So that is what happened. But he didn't disclose exactly where he went, but he said he was never kidnapped. This is what happened. He went and kidnapped.
So would police put any charges against him?
He has just given this statement. So I think we'll still have to investigate it. So I can't just give an answer now, but at the appropriate time we'll be able to come out with whatever the investigation will lead to. But this is what he is saying.
Now, Dr. Nana Adakwa Bediako III joins us via Zoom to tell his story. Thank you very much, Nana, for making time to speak with us. So my first question is to you is, where have you been?
Okay. Thank you very much. Since yesterday, I've been in Tarkwa.
Before you appeared in Tarkwa?
I can take you back. Okay, so from Wednesday, I was in Tarkwa for most part of the day till about close to 5 o'clock when I had a call from, not a call, I was going to do my business around central Tarkwa. And just around the roundabout, I got approached. I left my car and my stuff in there. I was just going out to buy something. And then I got this guy around the area looking a bit funny to me. And all of a sudden, one guy jumped up and tapped me and said, Nana, run. So I also, in a shock, went and took a taxi and drove off, and went away. But proud to the day, there had been an incident as far back as what was it? Sunday. I had a colleague of mine, a chairman, he had a call from one Isaac Blake that he's going to take my life in 5 days, starting from the Sunday. He took the phone and went to the uncle, and he repeated the same statement. He's going to take my life in 5 days. So we reported it to the police, and I was a bit panicking at that time. So when the guys came to me and said that, I was a bit shocked. And I thought, yes, this is within the 5 days, he said. I panicked, and I went away and picked a taxi, and went towards Tarkwa. And that is why I stayed.
All right. No, So, Nana, you talk about how you stepped out of your vehicle to conduct some business, and you said you left without your phones. Is that regular that you leave your phones in your vehicle if you're going to conduct some business?
This particular area, where I parked my car is right in front of Abbey National Bank, and there's a security guard there. This is a place I go there regularly, maybe twice, 3 times in a day, and I very, very often leave my car there. So I'm known by the guys, and it happens a lot because I put my phones in my car just by me. And this one, I was just popping out and coming back in. So I went about 50 meters, roughly about 50 to 100 meters, not close. And then I got this tap. And I was, because I've already sensed
we appear to
that I was in White House. And that's the area they were coming from. So I was a bit shocked.
All right.
So I went down rather than going up and took a taxi.
So Nana, again, back to the point where you had to leave your phones in the car. You were saying that you had received this threat, which you had reported to the police. And so already you were tensed or you were concerned about your safety. I would have thought that you would have gotten some security for yourself when you had to go about doing your business.
I had reported to the police at that time. I've gone to the police even that very morning. They've promised me that they're going to charge him to court. And I was I really didn't think that there was an imminent threat to my life at that moment until I got the tap. Then I got really confused and shocked, I should say. So I acted in the shock.
Yeah.
The issue is that when we're talking about people who does small-scale mining and galamsey, there are issues with some of them, and there are other guys involved who may think that the one who made this threat is the one who gives them food to eat, and therefore they want to undertake what he has said. Or I don't know the conversation that has gone on among them.
Right.
So
Nana, before we introduce the element of the galamsey and the motive for why anybody would want to hunt you down, you left. Let's go back to the story where you went to Takrady. So you were in Takrady, you picked a cab and went to Takrady, and you stayed there.
Yes, I didn't want to actually say exactly where I went to, but I went from Tarkwa to Takrady. And so I stayed there overnight. But the point is that I tried to make a call first to my wife. Her phone was off, because that's the number I could remember.
All right.
I later found out that he received a call, and she received a call and she also panicked. So she switched her phone up and took the kids somewhere. But in the morning, I tried again and again until I could remember there's a number that I called, but I think the combination, because of phones these days, it's really difficult sometimes putting these numbers in your head. But what I thought I was calling was actually not the right number. So I changed the combination a bit, then I got the right number. So I called it. And then he said, oh, it has been reported that you've been attacked, you've been kidnapped. And I said, no, I went to hide. I was running for my life, but I was not kidnapped. If that was the intention, that wasn't what happened. So let me come back. He said, yes, come back because there's so much noise about you being kidnapped. So I went back to Tarkwa.
All right. So otherwise, you probably may have stayed in Takrady for a while longer.
I would have come back to Accra, actually. I would have traveled back to Accra because the way I felt, I thought maybe I would have been safer in Accra. But because of that story around being kidnapped, I thought, well, probably I should just go back.
Do you feel safe now after you had to flee and come back?
That's a difficult question, because if someone says to you that it's going to kill you within 5 days, and didn't say it to just an ordinary person. He said it to the Achame, and then repeated it to the chief of Tarkwa that I'm going to kill him within 5 days. I don't know. I don't wish it on anybody. It's quite scary. And I really feel, even though I'm not sure whether he himself or anyone else can carry out his threat, it was still panicking. And I still feel a bit shocked by it.
All right. So have you gotten some personal security? All right, we appear to have lost Dr. Nana Dankwa Bediako, the Tarkwa Jase Hene there, but he's providing us some insight as to where he's been and what he's been up to. We're moving on, and Deputy Majority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Marking says he's hopeful ongoing engagement with the Sin Central MP Kennedy Ejapong could spare him an appearance before Parliament's Privileges Committee. Speaker of Parliament Alban Bangwing on Tuesday referred the MP to the committee over threats he made on the life of Labour firm Erastus Asare-Donkor. Speaking on the floor, Mr. Afenyo-Marking said the majority side has engaged Mr. Ejapong and he's cooperating.
The committee did not receive the referral from Right Honourable Speaker in respect of Mr. Suhini's motion, so that is why there is no such thing on the business statement. But I need to emphasize here, Mr. Speaker, that our colleague has been engaged extensively, Honorable Kennedy Ejapong, on this matter, and I have received very positive responses from him, and I have no doubt on my mind that perhaps, not perhaps, I have no doubt on my mind that steps will be taken to deal with the matter appropriately so that there wouldn't be the need to even go into that long haul of, So, Mr. Speaker, I just needed to assure the House of these steps that have been taken by the leadership of the majority. We want to work together, and the media is not an enemy. We are not enemies to ourselves. Sometimes we slip. What is important is for us to take steps to remedy or resolve when these things happen. We are all human.
But NDC MP for Norton, Samuel Okujoto-Ablakwa, says the move is out of place. He says the minority side rejects any such plan to settle the issue outside the remit of the committee.
The Right Honourable Speaker has referred the petition from Honourable Alhaji Suhini Alhassan to the Privileges Committee, and that is the resolution of this House. We are being told today, that is the status, the decision of the Speaker, the ruling of the Speaker. Then the Deputy Majority Leader, who we know is a long-time counsel and lawyer of the Honourable Kennedy Ejapong, is telling us today that, let's prepare for some out-of-court settlement of a sort, or out of Privileges Committee settlement. I mean, under what standing orders is the Deputy Majority Leader giving us this announcement or serving this notice to the House? I mean, please, if you want to plead for your client, come properly and go and do that at the committee. But don't say that, we would not have to go through that long. Who has complained about the process? We are ready to go through the length of that duration. And let's be careful we don't create the impression that some MPs, when the Speaker has referred, they are above that referral. He must go there and ensure that the decision of this House and the decision of Mr. Speaker is respected. So please, as for that, your notice, we reject it. We don't know how it is grounded.
Right, and joining us right now is Parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gakpo. Joseph, so do you have any idea what these engagements that the Deputy Majority Leader is talking about is? He says leadership is engaging the Sin Central MP. What could they be engaging about?
So this is what we've gathered on the corridors of Parliament, that apparently on the side of the majority, there's a conversation ongoing with Mr. Kennedy Ejapong for him to go back and use the same medium that he used to attack our good colleague Erastus Asare-Donkor and called for his beating, and apologize for it and withdraw those words that he actually used. And so from what we're gathering, the majority side are having that conversation with him. And contrary to what we heard on radio yesterday, the claim is that he's kind of cooperating in that conversation that's trying to get him to kind of apologize. So then the hope is that eventually when he apologizes and withdraws the comments using the same media on which he launched the attack, then it would be a basis to then come back to Parliament and say the matter has been resolved to a certain extent. He's apologized. There is no need to continue dragging it. So that's the reference from what we gather as far as what the deputy leader put on the floor of the House is concerned. It's a conversation behind the scene to try to get him to apologize for the comment.
Now, whilst this conversation is taking place, we're also aware that the Asin Central MP has made some fresh remarks. Has that also come up or come to the attention of these MPs?
It's not been raised, at least on the floor of the House yet. And it's not been brought to the Speaker's attention yet. Obviously, until that process unfolds where someone again, and that's very possible, it can be done, because the last time Mr. Japong was before the Privileges Committee about 2 years ago, just when that case was ongoing, a second case was brought against him, and that second case in connection with Ametuali was referred, just that it was never dealt with. So if any MP finds it worrying enough to draw the Speaker's attention to that as well, and that also gets referred separately, it could be dealt with separately. And the second window through which it could be used, even in trying to deal with this first case, would be for someone to draw the committee's attention when they are doing their real hearings, that even after he made that comment, he's gone ahead and virtually escalated the claims, which will then be a basis for a witness to say he deserves any sanctions that may be thrown at him. So those are the two windows based on this latest one could possibly be brought to the attention of the Privileges Committee.
Now, do we have any idea when the Privileges Committee is going to start its sitting?
Not yet. I'm told the first Deputy Speaker, who is also the chairman of the Committee on Privileges, is unavailable currently. When the referral was being done, he wasn't around. On Wednesday, he's not been around all week. From what the deputy leader told us, a scheduled meeting of the committee, which would be an inception meeting to agree on the modalities with which they would work, is not likely to come off next week. And meanwhile, Parliament will be taking a break, most likely from the first week of August. In just about 2 to 3 weeks, they will be going on break. So looks like the timelines are closing in very quickly. It's not looking very likely they'll deal with it before they go for their break in early August, which will have them be away up until sometime middle of September, which is quite a long time away from now.
All right. Thank you very much, Joseph Opoku Gakpo, our parliamentary correspondent. You're watching Joy News Round. We're taking a break. Still ahead in the bulletin, KNUST students protest what they describe as astronomical increase in hostel fees.
The son of the handkerchief seller
should have an accommodation.
The son of the dean of students
already has an accommodation.
Comes up after the break. Chamber of Agribusiness charges Agric Ministry to place strict surveillance on value chain of maize production in the country as prices of the commodity have increased by over 300% across the Tichimang Central Market in the last few months.
Chamber called for us to look at the price, food price index buildup, for us to actually put into proper context.
Yeah, welcome to Business. I'm Charles Aite. The Chamber of Agribusiness is calling for the Ministry of Agriculture to, as a matter of urgency, investigate the hike in prices of foodstuff across the country. This follows a report by the correspondent in the Bono East region, Anasabit, where the prices of maize has skyrocketed by over 300% from 195 cedis a bag in 2019 to over 300 cedis in 2021. Let's hear from Anthony Morrison, who spoke to us early on Business Live.
The chamber called for us to look at the price, food price index buildup, for us to actually put into proper context with a pandemic situation, what indicators contribute towards food prices. But in the issue of maize, we all do know about the challenges that the pandemic has brought in. Then again, the climate change, and also some aspects that, for instance, smuggling of or exporting of maize to other neighboring countries, and also hoarding, which a lot of people have hoard, and they are not able to release them just because they want prices to hike. So, or they've hiked prices so that they can make money. That also notwithstanding the drought, which would have brought in early maize, affected the maize and the grain output. So these are the current issues on the ground, coupled with the issues with access to fertilizer and good quality seeds that were not readily available during the early part of the planting season.
We still stay on agric-related stories because the farmer, Ransford Atiemu, has called out fellow farmers to stop criticizing the Agric Development Bank and stop blaming government for the spike in prices of maize. According to him, farmers with the right documentation who meet the requirement indicated by ADB are granted loans. Hence, they should put their books in check. He also stated that government supported farmers with seeds and helped the agric sector in feasible ways, but the change in climate led to the low yields this year. He spoke to Showbiz on the sidelines of the Ghana Poultry Project Masterclass for retirees.
Farmers are being urged not to only project the negative experiences in the agric sector. According to Ransford Atiemu, the change in rainfall patterns has caused an increase in prices of maize, and government cannot be blamed for the nature of the weather, but has rather supported the sector in various ways.
Farmers, we are talking about high prices of maize and other things. But what about our eggs? Did we also increase it? Very good. This is where we don't want to talk about it. We are always talking about high prices of the maize, soya, and that. It is true. Recently, we also the rainfall pattern system has changed. This one, you don't blame it on any of the government or the minister or anything. This is rainfall. The pattern has changed. So right now, I am a farmer myself. What every farmer, especially the commercial farmers, should start thinking about is irrigation. The minister has made sure that there are seeds. Honorable Minister for Food and Agriculture, Honorable Afriya Kuto, his time, he even subsidized seed for us. Added to the subsidized fertilizer, it has given farmers the biggest relief now. But the rains, he cannot control it.
Mr. Atiemu further stated that ADB grants loans to farmers with properly audited books.
Personally, when the ADB came to me, all the things they asked, I have it. I was doing that already. My books, my banking, my good practices and everything. I was doing it. Registration of the land, even insurance that I've done. I did all these things as a businessman. So when ADB came in, they didn't have any issue. But if you don't do these things, they will not give you the loan. As I did mention, ADB at the agric section, they don't employ bankers, they employ technocrats. So when they come to your farm, they know that what you are doing is good and what you are doing is not good. So they will go by this before they give you the loan.
Technical team lead for Ghana Poultry Project, Raymond Dente, explained that the Ghana Poultry Project Masterclass is a program organized to provide workers and retirees the financial opportunities available for them.
There are a lot of workers and then people who are getting ready to go on pension, who need an alternative source of investment, preparing for their pension and also looking for a place to invest. I mean, a lot of people have invested monies around in some schemes that wasn't the best. So we said, look, there are a lot of opportunities in the sector. We need a lot of investment in the poultry sector to improve our market share, especially in the meat sector. So we designed this masterclass targeting workers and then people who are getting ready for pension. Show them the opportunities, all the opportunities on the value chain, and then show them how they can start small and then get some very good returns if they do it well.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment with me, Oreku Wampofu. We still stay with the reigning or the current champions of the Ghana Premier League, and board member of Heart of Oak, Dr. Nahu Tamaklo, has told Joy Sports that he did not see current coach Samuel Bodu as special at the time they were appointing him. He was speaking to my colleague George Ado Jr.
We didn't really see him as a special figure per se. I remember I had a talk with him, and during our discussions, I was convinced that this is somebody who knows exactly what he's about, and he can work. And now, when he left his previous, club, the day we were expecting him to start work at our end, he didn't turn up. So I was worried. So I called him. I couldn't get hold of him. I asked somebody to get hold of him. And he assured me that he'll be in at a particular time, which he came. I think by then he was moving his items from Tarkwa to Mosque and route to Accra. Now, when he came, what I noticed, and I'm somebody who frequents the training grounds a lot, what I noticed was that this is a disciplined guy who knows exactly what he's about. So we gave him that chance and opportunity, and he's proving himself right.
Samuel Bodu joined Heart of Oak halfway through the season and lost just 2 games in what was an incredible run, leading the Phobians to their 21st title. Now, speaking of that title, Heart of Oak would be officially crowned champions of the league in Sogakope on Saturday. The Phobians meet Wafa in their last game of the season, and it's a good time to take a look at the fixtures for match week 34 of the Ghana Premier League. And Wafa would be playing against Heart of Oak on Saturday, as I did mention earlier. But all other games you see will be played on Sunday. Ashanti Gold playing against Inter Allies. Asante Kotoko play against Elmina Sharks. Legon Cities host 11 Wonders. Mediama face Brekum Chelsea. Abusia Dwarfs face Bechem United. And then you have Liberty Professionals playing against King Faisal. What would be a battle for who stays in the league. And then Adriana Stars face Kerala United. From the fixtures, let's take a look at the standings at the moment. Heart of Oak already confirmed champions. And then we have Asante Kotoko already confirmed second place. There's still something to play for at the top of the table. Remember, if you finish third, you do get a bronze medal. So Wafa, Adriana, and Mediama would have something to fight for on the last day. Dreams FC, Great Olympics, Kerala United, and Brekum Chelsea occupy 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, respectively. The bottom half of the table is where the real drama is. And as you can see, from 13th going, any club could get relegated alongside Inter Allies, who are already down to Division 1, if you look at their point tally there. But from Elmina Sharks, Abusian Drafts, Liberty Professional, Legon Cities, and King Faisal, all of these clubs would be heading into the last day, knowing that they could possibly still get relegated.
All right, so Oreku Wampofu, before you go, I want to find out from you, you're indicating that there's going to be the last set of matches that's going to be played. We all know that Heart of Oak has already won the league, and they're going to get a trophy, and 250,000 cities, right? Okay, so what is Kotoko going to get when they play on Sunday?
So for finishing second, Kotoko would be getting 40 silver medals alongside 150,000 Ghana cedis.
Silver medals, but no trophy.
Yeah, no trophy. And they'll be getting cash too as well.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you for bringing us sports. That's it for sports. And that'll be it for those of you who are watching on Joy Prime. But there's more news on the Joy News channel, my Joy Online too, and see the top stories there on the website. So I was not kidnapped. I went into hiding. Tarkwa Jasehini tells police. Of course, he has been speaking with us here on Joy News Prime. Ejura killings will be open-minded in our report and recommendations. That's Justice Kumsing. KNUST students protest high hostel rent, petition management. MPP lacks the courage to call Kennedy Japan to order. That's Mutala Mohammed. And that'll be it for those of you who are watching on Joy Prime. But there's more news on the Joy News channel. Do stay tuned in. Right, it's time for Showbiz, and Becky Bex is here. Hello, Becky.
Hello to you, Easy. How you doing? I love your top. It's
you do.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
By Justice something.
Yes, Justice's arrangements.
It's very nice.
Okay, thank you.
So, musician OJ, he's been off the music scene for a while. He's back. He's set to release a single next month, and he's been, you know, having a lot to say. He was on Hit FM this morning, and he mentioned, you know, a few people that he would love to collaborate with. You know, some gospel musician wouldn't want to, you know, collaborate with secular artists, musicians. But OJ has like a tall list of, you know, musicians that he wants to collaborate with.
I've told about Akabwa. I've told about Akabwa. I'll say non-gospel musician. That's how I'll call them. I'll even call them secular. A gospel no, you'll be in a gospel no, you're the for yes. I love to work with Akabwa. I love Kwame Eugene.
Okay.
I love Kwame. I love Kidi. Efia is also very good.
Okay.
Efia. Then this darling girl, she doesn't do music again. I don't know where she is. Raquel.
Raquel.
Fine musician. A very fine musician.
Raquel is in London.
Yeah, a very fine musician. She's also good. Then also David. Miss V. Oh yeah. A lot of good guys are around. A lot of good. Kim Promise. Yeah. Another great songwriter. Kim Promise is very good. Then Kofi.
Kinata.
Yeah.
You would.
You know, he recently did a song and mentioned me in the song.
He did. Yeah. He said what? How come I didn't? He said, "Oh please, Jesus Christ." You got me. It's fine. He actually did mention your name.
He did mention my name.
All right, let's move away from that. Let's talk about choral music. You know, so the section that listens or practice choral music, they think that they haven't been, you know, celebrated enough. So they decided to create a platform to celebrate themselves. So they are out with African Choral and Gospel Championship. So it's set to happen in South Africa. So we have James Varick Ama, and yes, the Oye composer.
Yeah.
And he
harmonious chorale,
and he has all the details for us.
That just like the World Choir Games, but also provides a platform for concerts. There are so many artists, great choirs, great ensembles over the continent, which no one promotes because there's not a platform for them. We are always waiting for a platform made by Europeans to participate. So no, we are going to create our own platform. So we are putting the whole of Africa together through music. And so this one will give our choirs and groups who register the platform to stage concerts in South Africa, not just competitions.
Okay.
So we have the competition bit and we have the concert bit as well as tourism.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how many choirs have, you know, registered so far, and so far how many of them are we expecting?
Okay. So far from Ghana alone, we have about 10 choirs.
Okay.
Completing their registration.
Okay.
From other West African countries, we have 4 choirs on board. South Africa choirs will dominate as well because they are hosting. And, it's not much expensive for them to participate.
Okay.
But most of them will stay in their homes and then just participate. Unlike we that are coming from other parts of the continent who have to come by flights and other things. So ours is quite expensive. But it's about time the African learns how to invest in tourism.
So let's end with Wendy Shea. So on Drive Time yesterday, she was asked, you know, how is she doing, you know, in the music industry? She's been in the industry for 3 years. And so what has changed? Does she regret anything? Wendy is grateful, basically, to God for how far He's brought her.
Initially, when I came into the industry, because I didn't understand how things, you know, goes on here, I was a bit confused. But after, you know, I got on track, nothing bothers me.
Nothing bothers you. Are you happy with how far you've come in the industry, though?
I am grateful. I am very grateful to God and to my supporters and to my team. Yes, I am.
Do you think that Ghanaians have accepted you wholly now, fully, your kind of music, your persona?
I'll say they've come to understand me. They've come to understand my sound and seeing my identity.
You have any regrets?
No.
None at all?
No, not at all. Everything that happened in my life had to happen because I've come to understand that it was a setup from God, you know. It was everything I had to endure and go through. He planned everything out, so...
Before we go, I'd want to bring the viewers the song that Joe Metal did, and he mentioned my name in it.
Yeah, it's your name. If you have that, let's listen.
That'll be it for Showbiz.
I'll call for another collaboration, you know, where he gets to mention the name like 3 times or something.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Becky, for bringing us Showbiz. And so that'll be it for Showbiz, but we have more news coming up. Don't go away. Some students of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology are protesting what they describe as killer charges for hostel accommodation. It follows the publication of new hostel fees for the upcoming academic year by private hostel facilities serving students of the university, with some charging as much as 50% more. Nana Ojima has more in the following report.
The call for reasonable pricing of hostel accommodation started as a social media campaign, with some influencers adding their voices. A virtual notice of a street protest was served on Thursday, but student leaders were called to a meeting to reconsider the decision.
What they virtually want to do is the same thing that we are doing, to speak to the owners so that they can reduce the prices of the hostels. We have heard that some students are saying the management of the university is colluding with hostel owners to increase the prices. I want to put on record that that is never true.
The son of the handkerchief seller
should have an accommodation.
The son of the dean of students
already has an accommodation.
A few hours after the meeting with authorities, some students who were not in support of the agreement took to the streets. They moved through the principal streets of the university campus, mobilizing support for the protest. Here are some of the protesters.
Hostel fees increments are too much, and for that matter, as students, we are concerned about this issue. We have to protest to authorities because the same room has no improvement. One room, it has no air conditioning, no fridge, nothing. The same room, and increased by 1,000 cedis. Why?
Yeah. When you check the prices, what are the ranges? From 10,000, 9,000, at least 6,000. It's enough. It's too much. It's too much.
For a room without nothing, just bed. The room should be normal rent. Let's take it that a room should be 1,000. 1,000 is normal for each student to pay. But for a room to be about 5,000, 2 in a room for each person. So 2 people in that room are paying 10,000.
Others took to social media platforms to express their disappointment.
I was paying 3,500 initially. That was for 2 in a room. And this academic year, we are asked to pay 4,500. That means increment of 1,500, and it's a lot.
My place, for instance, last time we paid 2,500, but this time around we are being asked to pay 3,500, and I think it's quite serious because it has been increased by 1,000 right now.
I paid 2,750 cedis this year for 4 in a room, so it was a difference of 300 over 300 cedis.
There was heavy security presence to ensure the protest continues peacefully. School authorities who are already in talks with hostel owners say the school is finding lasting solution to the problem. Dr. Norris Bekwe is University Relations Officer.
We have entered into as many as 55 agreements with private developers who want to build hostels on campus. You know, maybe by September, we are going to have about 3 of them starting work. And they are going to build something, combine something of about almost 20,000 bed capacity. And so we are also trying to impress upon the student to wait for the negotiation to conclude they should not go behind us and pay. My understanding is that some people, even as they are planning to march, some have already paid. And some are planning to go and pay, maybe for the fear that they might not get a place to sleep. But they have to wait for us to conclude the discussion, and then we come to a conclusion, and after that, they can go, we'll alert them to go and pay.
For joining you.
Some victims of a recent robbery incident at Mosque in the Ashanti region have appealed to the police to help retrieve their cash and gold from the suspect. On June 17, 2021, armed robbers robbed gold dealers in the area and took away their money. 2 people were shot in the leg by the robbers. The police later arrested 7 suspects to assist in the investigation. Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin reports.
I got out too, and they wanted to kill me. Without God's grace, they would have killed me. So the police should take action if the suspects have been arrested. If the police have arrested the suspected armed robbers, they should let us see them. The police should let the suspect show them where they have hidden the money. During a protest at Mosque, the affected residents entreat the police to help retrieve their gold and money from the suspects. 2 people were shot. 1 is admitted at the hospital. The other one has his leg amputated. They took my uncle's money, and now that his wife is pregnant, where does he get money to take care of her? This is not the first time people have been robbed here. Leader of the victims, Nana Brunya, also calls on the police to brief the victims on items retrieved from the suspects. My money was about 1.2 million, but my wife cannot quantify it because of the kind of business she does. The June 17 robbery incident has left a scare on the minds of residents. They live in a state of fear and panic. The residents are requesting 24-hour police patrol to protect lives and property. They, however, commend the police for the efforts to arrest suspects. Chief of Mosque, Nana Tebi Jansa, pledges support to the District Police Command to fight crime. The police commander has really helped us since the incident occurred. He has always deployed his team to protect us, but we are really disturbed about the entire incident. District Police Commander ASP Felix Akua assures residents of their safety, but says his outfit is yet to retrieve items from the suspected robbers.
Nothing at all has been retrieved for.
The 7 suspects were arraigned before the Require Circuit Court on July 13, 2021. They have been remanded in police custody and will reappear on July 27, 2021. A report by Mohamed Nuruddin.
The National Road Safety Authority says it is seeing considerable improvement in road safety and reduction in road crashes in the northern region. The Regional Director of the authority, Alexander Ayata, says the support they are receiving from the Overlord of Dagbon, Yana, and the Joy News Drive Safe campaign is doing the trick for them. The gains the authority is making in the region shows how fewer people are dying now through road crashes from motorbikes, which happen to be their main mode of transport. While 20 lives have been lost through motorcycle-related accidents in the region from January to June this year, 102 people have been killed in the Greater Accra region and 105 have died in the Eastern region.
We are measured by the data or figures that we have been able to gather. And that is to say that when it is increasing, I would not say we are doing much. But as long as Northern region is concerned, the figures of injury and death is coming down. I'm looking at the two first quarters of 2020 and 2021. And looking at that, of course, it gives me the hope and trust that, of course, our job is getting down to the people. And the fact that, of course, the year 2020, 22 people were killed on the road. That is from January to March. This year, same period, we have only 12. And believe you me, out of these 12, 8 were motor riders. Meaning only 4 would have been what? Either vehicle or what have you. But 8 of them died as a result of motor crash. About 33 motors were involved, and 12 got injured, and 8 died. So it tells me that, of course, a good job is done as compared to the previous year. Then, of course, we also must believe that, unlike of course, I will say 2020 was even an election year. And normally election years are years where we record high numbers of crashes. But to my surprise, and of course, we really had done our part with the support of the work you've done. And to the support, where we even have to go to Yana's place. I believe that we have to go to the man and thank him and ask him for more voices, because his word was taken seriously. As the overlord of the land, he speaks, people accept it, they believe it, they trust him. So I will say the magic of the Yana being part of it, and the magic of Seth voting come to support. With our hard work together, we have yielded good results.
President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo on Friday commissioned the National Mosque of Ghana complex at a brief ceremony at Nima. The edifice, built with funding from Turkey, contains a grand mosque, which is the second largest in West Africa, an office complex for the National Chief Imam, a clinic fitted with laboratories and a pharmacy, and a library and a morgue. President Akufo-Addo applauded the National Chief Imam Sheikh Osman Nuhu Shaributu and expressed hope this edifice would foster unity and progress for the Muslim Ummah in Ghana.
I bring you the greetings of Islam. Salam alaikum. I'm thankful to the Almighty God that He has given us life to see this day, and for bringing us together to commission the National Mosque of Ghana complex for the Muslim Ummah of our nation. This complex, I'm told, contains a grand mosque, which is the second largest in West Africa, an office complex for the National Chief Imam, a clinic fitted with laboratories and a pharmacy, a library, and a morgue. The completion of this project has been made possible by the visionary leadership of a true icon of our generation, the National Chief Imam, Sheikh Osman Nuhu Shaributu, with the support of a number of philanthropists and technocrats here in Ghana, as well as with the generous financial and technical support of our friends, the government and people of the Republic of Turkey.
The Ghana Boundary Commission has successfully resolved some border disagreements over land boundaries with Togo in the Pusiga district in the Upper East region. A meeting held between the National Coordinator of the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Emmanuel Kotia, and the President of the Togo Boundary Commission agreed, amongst others, that the boundary demarcation using River Pumanko as the boundary should be respected. On the disputed boundary line with Burkina Faso in Paga, both parties agreed a joint technical team will assess the situation and make an informed decision. Maxwell Agbagba has more on this report.
Currently in Togo, in this community known as Senkasi, right here in this building, the National Coordinator for the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Emmanuel Kotia, is meeting the head of Togo's Boundary Commission. Now, discussions here would focus on the border disputes between Ghana and in Togo in these parts of both countries.
We've agreed that we would, both the Ghana Boundary Commission and the Togo Boundary would jointly go by the legacy documents that was established so far as the boundaries are concerned from 1927, the legacy document of 1927. Now, we have also agreed that areas that were not accessible by Ghana towards the river line should now be opened to Ghana, and the Ghanaians are now ready to leave. The Togolese have also come to an understanding that our security agencies should continue to patrol around there based on the understanding that we have come.
Day 2 started with a meeting between the Ghana Boundary Commission and authorities of Burkina Faso. The Ghanaian delegation, led by the coordinator for the commission, Major General Emmanuel Kotia, visited the disputed boundary area in Paga in the Upper East region with their counterparts from Burkina Faso. It is a wrap for the National Boundary Commission, led by its coordinator, Major General Emmanuel Kotia. The meeting with authorities from Burkina Faso ended some hours ago. Here is Major General Emmanuel Kotia giving us what the two countries agreed to do in order to implement the various agreements that they reached.
There were two major issues that we discussed. There's an issue in Sapelga where there are some few issues that affect the international boundary periods between us and Burkina Faso. And then in the Paga area where some of the boundary pillars have been encroached upon and engulfed by habitations. Both of us agreed that a joint technical team would meet in Sapelga for a day's assessment so far as the issue along the international boundary in Sapelga is concerned. And then the issue with the Paga, they will make an assessment also, and then at the next meeting we'll be able to come out with informed decisions that will help resolve the issue. The one major decision that both teams decided upon was that we're going to regularize the meeting between Ghana and Burkina Faso. In her speech, she mentioned that they've made a request years back, but we have promised that we are going to do, and as a result of that, we have decided that we're going to hold another meeting in Burkina Faso before the end of the year.
Here is the head for the Burkina Faso Boundary Commission speaking through a translator.
En République du Ghana pour rencontrer nos frères de la Commission nationale des frontières du Ghana en vue d'échanger sur nos préoccupations communes.
But this meeting will be the point of contact because we are going to put in place two technical committees that will be meeting to discuss common issues concerning our common border.
From Paga here in the Upper East region, reporting for Joy News, Maxwell Ababa.
Now, Rwandan High Commissioner to Ghana, Her Excellency Aisha Karibo Kasira, is urging Rwandans everywhere to reflect on the kind of Rwanda they desire and work towards attaining them. Speaking at the ceremony to mark 27 years since the country was liberated following an ethnic genocide perpetrated on Tutsis by their fellow countrymen, the Hutus, the High Commissioner urged her countrymen and women to do their part to keep Rwanda united.
And in so doing, we are inspired individually and collectively to continue to play our part in building the Rwanda we want, as enshrined in our Vision 2050. If one was to ask you, what is the Rwanda we want, what will it look like? How would we define it? A united Rwanda. A Rwanda with a people having all a high income and considered as a high-income country, with inclusive and sustainable socio-economic development. On this note, I would like to commend the progress that has been made so far and the contribution of our distinguished people-centered leadership in this journey, working together with Rwandans to own our destiny and always strive to progress in spite of the various challenges. It is right to say that the laudable gains that Rwanda has achieved these past years has come from the hard work and commitment of every good-intentioned Rwandan, and I'd like to pay tribute to you all, dear compatriots. I also want to pay tribute to the friends of Rwanda, who have worked with us during this whole process.
She also expressed what she says was gratitude of the whole Rwanda to the Rwandan army for liberating their people 27 years ago and continually protecting them.
Whenever we convene to celebrate, we reflect and honor the women and men of the Rwanda Patriotic Army and the Rwandan Patriotic Front, who, led by our President, His Excellency Paul Kagame, sacrificed the youth. They sacrificed themselves for the liberation of our people and our country. We will forever be deeply grateful for that sacrifice. As we look back, we also hold on to and celebrate the values and the principles that these great leaders continue to pursue in our liberation.
Business magnate Jonah says the only way to surmount the many problems the country is facing is to put together a government of national unity. This, according to him, is because the country is currently too divided along extreme partisan lines to be able to deal comprehensively with its teeming challenges. Ahead of the airing of our latest episode of Ghana's Great, which focuses on his life and achievement on Monday, July 19, the distinguished Ghanaian has been explaining why he thinks an all-inclusive government is the best way out.
I think one has to recognize that we have made progress since 1992. That said, the challenges that we faced in 1992 pale into insignificance as compared to the challenges that we are facing as a country. But in terms of the environment itself, I think the environment is too toxic and partisan for my liking. I mean, literally everything is seen through the prism of politics. And that affects everything, every decision that is taken. But we are facing very severe, very serious challenges as a nation. I mean, you only have to look at the state of the economy. This country is being weighed down by debt. I mean, just to put it into perspective, 80% of our domestic revenue go to service debt. Just think about it. If your father, 80% of what he collects as salary goes to pay off part of his debt, what will be left for food? What will be left for hospitals, for the bills? What will be left for everything, schools and all of that? So there's not an awful lot that will be left for wages, meaningful wages for Ghanaian workers employed by government, for roads, for schools, for hospitals, for investments in water, and all of those things. So the challenge economically are very, very onerous. And how do you deal with these challenges? Look, take youth unemployment. Youth unemployment is now a national security matter. Helplessness and hopelessness leads to mischief. Because as they say, the devil finds mischief for idle hands. People walk through my office every day, young men and women, with qualifications that I never dreamt about. And yet they have no jobs. Let me make it clear. It is not the government's responsibility to create jobs. It is the government's responsibility to create the environment which will let you and I invest to create jobs. And as I said to you earlier, if everything is seen through the lens of politics, if people's businesses are being undermined because they don't carry this political card or this political party card and all of that, it undermines confidence in the economy. It undermines confidence in the country as an investment destination. The challenges are onerous. We should not play down these challenges. The way to, in my view, move this country to the next level of development is to have a more all-inclusive approach to governance. Okay. We must have a structure which brings into, I was going to say under the umbrella, but that will be too diplomatic, that will be too political, as everything is seen through that lens. I can't even use that expression. We have to have a broad church of Ghanaians regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of their politics, regardless of their agenda, but who represent the very best that this country has. And we have a lot of them. And we have to bring them into a broad church for governance purposes. That is to say, I'm looking for a more all-inclusive governance structure. Let me be bold as to say, I'm looking for a government of national unity. Regardless of who wins next year's elections, the challenges that we face as a country, I said that unless there's a pulling together of resources, talent, and all of that, it will almost become difficult to govern this country.
Ghana's Greats is airing on Monday. We're taking a break. We're bringing you more business. Just stay tuned in.
Welcome to business. Of course, the Ghana Union of Traders Association has attached the increase in price of goods and services to high freight charges. We hear from the president of the union, Dr. Joseph Oben.
Yeah, we can definitely, we have to pass on the cost to the final consumer. But is that the solution? Because the consumer too, his purchasing power is limited. It's not that his purchasing power is also increasing along the price increases. So if they become fatigued, it also translates into our turnover and suppresses our turnover, thereby also leading to collapse of our businesses. We see this, the causes of these price hikes on twofold. One is globally, by the effect of the COVID, where world commodity prices have gone up astronomically high. If you look at copper prices, before COVID broke up, the copper prices used to be 5,300 per ton. Now it has gone to 5,000. It has gone to 10,000. World metal prices and steel prices have all gone up. That's why the iron rods and other building materials have also gone up. PVC prices have gone up over 30%. So almost all raw materials that are used for production have gone up quite high, and thereby affecting our FOB prices. That's for FOB. And then the production of our goods itself is now prolonged. If you used to produce your goods within 1 month, now the factory will be tossing you. Sometimes it will come to about 3 months before the goods are produced because of some challenges in their logistics and all that. And then when the shipment is also due, it's going to take you sometimes, mostly from China, it's about 6 weeks.
Well, the E-Commerce Association of Ghana is calling on government to consider waiving some taxes for the e-commerce sector. According to the General Secretary of the Association, Anita Wiafi Asino, the sector is an emerging one, hence it will need the government support to be wholly profitable. She spoke to Showbiz on the sidelines of a breakfast meeting organized by the Israeli Embassy on the topic e-commerce in Ghana, adapting and thriving. Here's more.
Stakeholders in the e-commerce industry appealed to government to forgo some taxes in the sector. General Secretary of the E-Commerce Association of Ghana, Anita Wiafi Asino, says her outfit is willing to meet government halfway for a win-win situation.
Up until, of course, the coronavirus hit, and then we had the lockdown, and then people had to find themselves ordering things, and so the conversation or the reportage around the e-commerce became more, whether online or through radio, TV, etc. So probably it created the impression perception that, you know, this space is making lots of money and whatnot, but actually the reality is it's not that way. It's emerging, meaning that it's just started, is growing. So of course, you know, we know in other countries, other places, there are some forms of taxation systems in place, and of course our government is a government. It also has to look at some of these models and see what's applicable to us. We're part of that conversation to kind of give a breakdown as to what's happening in the space and give some insights, and then we're having a conversation to make sure that, of course, whatever is applied is not going to cripple the industry, but actually help us to, you know, move forward. And we also have other things that we would want, you know, the government obviously to do to help us in order to make sure that our revenues are doing well, so that when we finally come up with a taxing system that is fair and relevant to the environment, to the e-commerce space, you know, we can be profitable.
Chief Commercial Officer of Jumia Ghana, Kolawole Osinowo, says trading across borders in Africa is a major challenge in the e-commerce industry. However, he hopes the African Continental Free Trade Agreement will help address that.
Outside of e-commerce, you would naturally have the challenge of payments across these markets. You have the challenge of logistics across this market. I believe that once these challenges are solved, where we're able to easily pay across all the African countries, where we're able to easily move as people across all these countries, facilitate commerce. With the AFTA program by the African Union, I think once it takes roots very well, then it will become very it will be an important enabler to facilitate trade.
Israeli head of Trade and Economic Mission to Ghana, Ayelet Levin-Karp, said the maiden edition of the breakfast meeting was to create a platform for partnerships between Ghanaian and Israeli companies.
As a Trade and Economic Mission, we are always here to try to see where we can drive partnerships and collaborations between the Israeli market and the ecosystem here. And we found the e-commerce space in Ghana extremely interesting, since it is yet definitely still in its initial stages, but a lot is happening, especially in recent year or two. Probably COVID also has something to do with that, but maybe speeding out the natural way of these developments. And we see a lot of promise in this sector growing and getting big. And while we believe there's still a lot of technological needs that needs to be addressed, with believe that the Israeli companies have suitable solutions that can help drive this growth in the sector.
PR protectionists and enthusiasts all over the world will, of course, celebrate the first ever World Public Relations Day, inspired by a need to present a unified global agenda to make the world understand and utilize PR better. To this end, the Chief Director of the Global Media Alliance here in Ghana has been sharing with Showbiz her thoughts on the state of public relations in Ghana today.
We have a lot of young people getting into the field. So I must say, right now, PR has totally grown, and we're proud to be associated with it. What are you doing to communicate with each of the different stakeholders? How are you communicating with the stakeholders? How are you using advertising? Which language are you using? So it goes deeper than that. And so that's why I would choose that challenge, the fact that not many organizations understand the essence of using.
And that'll be it for business. I'm Charles Aite.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the second part of the sports segment here with me, Rick Wampofo. And we do start off with a breaking story that's just making rounds, and that has to do with 19-year-old Ghanaian winger Kamaldeen Sulemana, who seems to have performed a U-turn in his transfer. He looked destined for Ajax after agreeing terms with the Dutch club earlier in the transfer window. But happenings in the last 24 hours suggested that he quickly moved to France, where he undertook his medical this afternoon, and then signed a 5-year deal with French Liga side Stade Rennes. And what a signing that would be. It's been reported that Rennes would be paying Nordsjælland 15 million euros plus add-ons. Sulemana, he's a graduate of the Right to Dream Academy and spent the last 2 seasons at Nordsjælland, where he scored 14 goals in 42 league appearances. So we'll see what the future holds for Kamaldeen. But let's come back to Ghana. And we did take a look at the Ghana Premier League table before leaving. And I did mention that in terms of the relegation battle is one interesting part to look at, as 5 different clubs could still be relegated. Remember, Inter Allies are already relegated, and these 5 clubs could still go down. 2 of them would be joining Inter Allies in the Division 1 next season. Let's now take a look at the permutations for each of these clubs and how they could possibly stay afloat in the Ghana Premier League with match day 34 beckoning. So here are the permutations for Ebusua Drafts. It's pretty simple. They are currently in the relegation zone, and for them to be safe, they must beat Bechem United and then hope that 2 of either Elmina Sharks, King Faisal, Liberty, and Legon Cities fail to win. Ebusua Drafts could also still survive with a draw if Sharks and Liberty Professionals lose their game. For Elmina Sharks, they would be safe if they beat Asante Kotoko and 1 of Liberty Professionals, Legon Cities, and King Faisal fail to win. Elmina Sharks could also survive with a draw if only Legon Cities lose by 11 goals, which seems pretty unlikely. Let's look at Liberty Professionals, and they would be safe if they beat King Faisal in that 6-pointer. That match certainly is one to look out for in match day 34. They could also survive with a draw if both Ebusua Drafts and Elmina Sharks fail to win. And even if they do lose, they could also survive if Dwarfs lose and Sharks fail to win as well. For Legon Cities, it's not where they envisioned themselves to be when they invested so much money into the club. But their job is pretty simple. If they beat 11 Wonders, they stay in the Ghana Premier League. They still could be safe, but that would depend on Liberty Professionals, Elmina Sharks, and the Ebusua Drafts failing to win. That's if Legon Cities draw. And they would not be relegated if they do lose, but that would also depend on 2 of Liberty Professionals, Elmina Sharks, and Ebusua Drafts failing to win. For Alhaji Grusa's King Faisal, although they've reached the 40-point mark, they would be officially safe if they beat Liberty Professionals in that 6-pointer. They would also be safe with a draw because they have 40 points, and King Faisal could even survive with a loss if 2 of Ebusua Drafts, Elmina Sharks, and Legon Cities fail to win. That's a lot of math heading into the final match week of the Ghana Premier League. But that's what you get when you do have a very competitive league. And we do look forward to the 2 other clubs that would be relegated alongside Inter Allies. But we'll be bringing you updates of all those games as well on our Twitter handle at JoySportsGH. But let's do some more sports stories where former Black Stars defender John Painstill is partnering the MP of Afajato South to unearth and develop football talent in the Volta region. We do have more for you in the following report.
Of 720 young men from about 40 communities participated in the gala competition. With the help of the technical team of the John Painstill Football Academy, 61 of the players were shortlisted to form the Afajato Football Club. The newly established club played an exhibition match with the former Blasters side in the Volta region. The Member of Parliament to Afajato South, Angela Alaute, who is the sole financier of the club, was enthused by their performance.
What happened today should tell you that we presented good footballers who made us proud. Out of 720 young men who played the gala, we got 71. Today we have the best 61. So by the grace of God, we now have a team that will be called Afajato Football Club, and then we will manage it, register for the first division, and then we take it from there. And so today, Afajato, we also have a club. We've declared it already. And then we thank God that my boys were able to beat the almighty footballers. We beat them up. Whether it is half goal or not, we gave John Princeton and his people a loss.
John Pinstall, who was in charge of the scouting exercise, expressed satisfaction at the performance of the newly scouted players, indicating they possess the prowess to be developed into professional footballers.
Yeah, I think I've been to Volta. This is my fourth place, and I will say it has been amazing journeys everywhere I go. It has been a good journey. My impression today, it's amazing. I mean, it keep pushing, it keep giving me challenges with the players, seeing different talent, players who are already made, that coaches don't need to polish them. I never thought such talented players heading somewhere. But we believe that by the close of the year, we'll be able to find players who replace like of Stephen Appiah, like Kingston, myself, Sam Johnson. I will play them. We have players who play as same as these seniors that I've mentioned their names, which they're hiding, believing that there's no help, nobody is here to help them. But John Pinstall Football Academy is in to help, to scout and bring the best out from them.
These 5 players were selected to join the John Pinstall Football Academy in Accra. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Ve Golokwati.
Well, very good initiative there from John Pinstall. But that's how we wrap up the sports here. My name is Oreku Ambofo, and do have an amazing weekend. Back to you, Ejura, in the studio.
Yes, Oreku, you have an amazing weekend too. And that'll be it for the Bulletin. I'm Israelite. Thank you very much for watching. You have a good night and an amazing weekend.